New documents detail cops' bungling response to Tamal Horsford's death. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations concluded its investigation and the DA declined to press charges. But documents first reported by Rolling Stone detail more officer blunders, from offensive Snapchats to questionable friendships. So this is by Niall Capello. What brought me to this article, even though this article is a little more older, it's a similar situation such as the Nolan Wells case. So Nolan Wells brought me here. So pictured here in the center is Tamal Horsford. She's in the center and she's the only black attendee at an adult sleepover party. But that night, this young woman died. All the other ones that you see sitting beside her are alive. After reopening the investigation into the death of Tamal Horsford last year, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, which is abbreviated as GBI, concluded their inquiry earlier this year. No charges will be filed in the case of the 40-year-old mother of 5 found face down in the backyard of a friend's Forsyth County home the morning after an adult sleepover party took place. But according to the documents that were obtained by Rolling Stone, the investigation surrounding Horsford's death has continued to be muddied by scandals within the police department and unanswered questions about the toxicology report. Horsford was found November 4th, 2018, the morning after a birthday celebration held by the homeowner Jeanne Myers. Horsfords knew Myers as well as the other attendees through their son's youth football league. The initial Forsyth County Sheriff Office investigation determined that her death had been an accident, the result of a fall from the second-level balcony. It wasn't until summer of 2020 that Black Lives Matter movement sparked a national conversation about this particular case. As celebrities T.I., Kim Kardashian, 50 Cent shared photos and information about Horsfords on social media, many questioned whether local police had come to the right conclusion. Could Horsford's death really have been caused by the fall from the balcony? How was it possible that she fell and anyone not hearing it? And was the fact that she was the only black guest in an overwhelmingly white part of Georgia simply a coincidence? As details of the case came out, it became clear that multiple parts of the investigation had gone wrong. Working on the assumption that Horsford's death was the result of an accident and not foul play, the crime scene had not been preserved, with potential evidence contaminated and witnesses not immediately interviewed. When Horsford's body was sent for autopsy, only a handful of autopsy photos were taken by the medical examiner. The public speculation largely focused on Jose Barrera, the boyfriend of the homeowner and party host. At the time of Horsford's death, Barrera was employed by Solicitor General Office as pretrial officer for the Forsyth County court system, but Barrera was fired from the position in December of 2018 after he was found to have looked up information relating to the Horsford case while on his job. Rolling Stone was not able to reach Barrera and Myers for comments. To start, Forsyth County was rife with rifle tension. In 1912, every one of the town's more than 1,000 black residents, they were driven out of Forsyth County, and Forsyth County has remained primarily white to this day. The sheriff at the time of Horsford's death, Ron Freeman, has himself faced allegations of racism and nepotism. It wasn't until a Change.org petition gained more than 600,000 signatures that Freeman asked the GBI to reopen this case July of 2020. Family and friends of Horsford, as well as Black Lives Matter advocates, hope that GBI investigation might provide answers to many questions left by the original inquiry. So a new chapter. In May of 2021, Forsyth County District Attorney Penny Penn announced that the GBI had concluded their inquiry and there would not be charges that were filed in Horsford's death. The GBI largely sided with Forsyth County investigators, concluding that Horsford's death was caused by an accidental fall from the balcony. But that's not to say there weren't any new revelations from GBI report. Now documents obtained by Rolling Stone reveal the full results of the GBI investigation, specifically more about the two individuals who left their positions in the local law enforcement in the wake of Horsford's death. Party attendee Jose Barrera and responding officer Michael Christian. Authorities had already disclosed that Barrera had been let go for searches related to Horsford's case, but Barrera was also the center of another important debate: whether or not Horsford's left arm had been moved. When found and photographed, Horsford's right arm was next to her body, while her left arm was extended and bent at the elbow. However, statements from Barrera and the homeowner, Jean Myers, recall Horsford being found with both arms at her sides. Did someone move her left arm, perhaps to check for vitals? According to the supplemental report from Forsyth County, Barrera admitted to it in a call with Lieutenant Andy Collin. The supplemental report is essentially advised that Barrera telephonically contacted investigator Collin November 7, 2018 and advised that he check Horsford's left arm for a pulse. Reads GBI report. So it continues. So Barrera did in fact move Horsford's left arm per investigator Collin. However, in an interview with GBI Special Agent Derek Glasgow, Barrera denied moving Horsford's arm. When the GBI confronted Barrera with Collin's report, he called it bullshit. Barrera denied ever telling Collin he had moved Horsford's arm, and instead he hadn't moved the arm. There is no way I checked for a pulse, he told Glasgow. The GBI report also revealed information about the relationship between Collin and Barrera, who worked together at the courthouse prior to Horsford's death. According to the statement Collin gave to GBI, Assistant District Attorney James Dunn had previously given Barrera's cell phone number within the context of helping Barrera find a job with the FCSO. Dunn told Collin and Barrera had recently been fired from his job with the State Probation Office, along with another female, for lying apparently about a relationship between the two of them. Dunn said that while Barrera shouldn't have lied, he was a good guy, and a good guy with a good reputation around the courthouse. So the spotlight on the Snapchat messages. So GBI report also reveals new details on concerns relating to the lead investigator of Forsyth County, Mike Christian. On October 2020, Christian resigned from the FCSO amid the internal affair investigation into allegations that Christian sent multiple women with whom he was having extramarital affairs, confidential information about this particular case. So in a statement, January 2021, Christian defended himself, saying that the woman whose complaint triggered the IA investigation had been acting out of hurt. I am far from a perfect human, he told WSB TV in Atlanta. I chose to end a long-term extramarital relationship abruptly. This person, out of anger and hurt, chose to go to the Sheriff Freeman with a list of alleged misconduct on my part. So, in 2020 hindsight, I would not have resigned but stayed for the investigation and taken what punishment was fitting up to the termination. As is, the IA investigation lacks my side of the story and makes me out to be something I am not. All the good I have ever done in 16 years of law enforcement is gone with this document. The IA investigation ultimately found him to have violated his oath of office and neglected his duty, according to WSB TV. As part of their investigation, GBI spoke to 2 women who claimed to have been sent details, and in one case photos, of Horsford's case. According to these women, Christian exclusively referred to the deceased mother as a porch lady. In the GBI report, one ex-girlfriend recalled Christian sharing the results of Horsford's toxicology report as well as his suspicion that the body had been moved. Another woman interviewed by the GBI claimed that Christian sent her a photo of Horsford's body at the crime scene. The woman remembered Christian being obsessed with the case to the point of having panic attacks about it. According to this ex-girlfriend, Christian told her he believed that the death was an accident, but doubted Horsford fell from the balcony based on the injuries. So this ex also told GBI that Christian told her that he discovered calls between Barrera and Colin prior to the 911 call and suspected Colin had helped the partygoers come up with a story. According to this woman, Christian was worried that he would go down for the officers who set the scene. So, if there was evidence of calls between Colin and Barrera, the GBI didn't find it. In fact, records for Barrera's cell phone turned up nothing between 12 a.m. to 10 a.m. the day of Horsford's death. So when GBI clarified, Verizon confirmed that Barrera had not used the network during those times. Both Barrera and Colin denied any communication about the death prior to the 911 call. 3 screenshots of Snapchat messages Christian sent to his girlfriends were obtained by GBI. In a message sent the morning of November 4th, Christian appeared to joke about notifying Horsford's husband of her death. It reads, "Hello, sir. I know we've never met, but I'm here to tell you that your wife and the mother of your 6 children is dead. Oh yes, I am happy to report that she was really drunk, tripped, landed face down in the backyard, and I know you have fond memories. Enjoy corralling these 6 boys who are now going apeshit." In a message November 19th, Christian types, "Greetings from racist cracker bastard murder covering up land. How are you?" He continues. "It's a nice rainy day, good for digging shallow graves by the roadside." In this context, Ralph Fernandez, the Horsford's family lawyer, believes Graves is a reference to Michelle Graves, a friend of Horsford's who's been particularly critical of the investigation. So these are the Snapchat messages that I just read right here. So there's probably more. So when the interview by the GBI about these messages, Christian admitted to sending them but characterized them as sarcasm and poor taste. But while Christian admitted to sending the Snapchat messages that he screenshotted, he denied sending any photos of the crime scene. Christian also denied having any knowledge of Barrera calling Colin before the call to 911, as well as any relationship between Barrera and Colin before Horsford's death. So Christian told the GBI that he believes Horsford's death was a result of an accidental fall from the balcony, and he had no doubt Horsford landed where she was found. Rolling Stone was not able to reach Christian for a comment. So the whispers continued. The GBI investigation appears to have left other loose ends. In an interview with investigators, Horsford's husband, best friend, Stephen Reynolds, articulated concerns that the death may have been sexually motivated as well. So Reynolds claimed that two of the couples present that night Horsford's died were swingers. He told the GBI that his first thought was that Horsford died after someone tried to initiate something with her sexually. So this doesn't appear to come up anywhere else in the investigation, including in interviews with the two couples he implicated. Another question of GBI left unanswered was the origin of Xanax found in Horsford's system. Or Xanax. That's what I was trying to say. It's this particular substance. So Horsford's toxicology report has been the subject of much focus since the results seem to confirm that she had fell accidentally while intoxicated. Her high BAC was 0.238, almost 3 times the legal driving limit. Seems easily explained by a bottle of tequila Horsford had brought with her to the party. So she also tested positive for THC and was found with a baggie of marijuana in her purse. So witnesses confirmed seeing Horsford take shots and smoke marijuana the night of the party, but Horsford also tested positive for alprazolam, a medication more commonly known as Xanax. It was a small amount, less than the lowest measure of 25 micrograms per liter, but it showed that Horsford had taken Xanax sometime before she died. Alcohol, Xanax are both depressants, and mixing the two can result in sedation and the slowing of the heart, breathing, motor skills, speech, and reflexes, and this can lead to cardiac arrest, respiratory depression, and death. Unlike alcohol, marijuana, the crime scene offered no obvious explanation for this positive result, but it's not clear where or when she took the Xanax and how she got it. Party attendees have unanimously denied knowledge of Horsford taking and being given the Xanax. So yet there was one person there with a Xanax prescription, according to the report. During the GBI initial interview with the woman who Rolling Stones had chosen not to name, she denied having shared Xanax with anyone. So it goes on and on and on. So it says in the message, it says that the GBI investigation turned up text messages that suggested that this was not true and that she had in fact shared Xanax with the woman from the party. So in a message sent on November 4th, the morning of Horsford's death, another friend from the party texted her, "I hate to ask, but can I please get more meds? It really helped me." The woman with the prescription responded in an affirmative, that they coordinated where to meet up to do this exchange. So when confronted with this evidence, the woman confirmed that she had given her friend a small amount of Xanax the morning after Horsford's death. So she had maintained that she was only gave this woman Xanax because she knew her well. But she and other witnesses insisted that she did not give Horsford Xanax that night, and she wouldn't have since she wasn't close to Horsford and was aware she had been drinking. So the GBI report doesn't appear to reach a conclusion on this or many other points of Horsford's case. Instead, GBI focused much more on the investigation of Leander Horsford, Tamala, her husband, and the mother of her children. So search warrants for Leander's phone and social media records didn't turn up any relevant evidence. So additional testing done on paint and Horsford's pajamas also came up empty. So in the end, the GBI largely sided with original findings of Forsyth County. So this was simply a tragic accident, the result of a mom's night out gone wrong. That's what they have ruled it as. By not filing charges, DA Penn seemed to agree with the findings of both Forsyth County and the GBI. But will it be enough to satisfy friends and family of Horsford's? Will the public and BLM activists accept the lack of answers about the Xanax situation? So, and if so, what does that say about the way the police in a primarily white area treat cases with black women in the center of it? So Fernandez, the Horsford family lawyer, has some of the same questions, even probably still to this day. So this is an ever-expanding event, he tells Rolling Stone. I'm dealing with a really unusual situation that has been complicated further by official intermeddling, by the absence of cooperation from law enforcement, and the distraction within what I consider to be primarily investigation. So Fernandez is currently working on a comprehensive, in-depth report, his own Warren Commission. I don't think it's only fair to the project or to Tamala just to say that here's what law enforcement should have done, Fernandez explained. I think what we need to do is also investigate from our perspective how and why this became so difficult and so challenging and so adversary. So editor's notes, the story has been updated and to include more details of this party. So that's pretty much the article of this case right here. So I guess there is still unanswered questions, and it seems like the Xanax and the text messages on Snapchat and all of these things, and then Michael Christian saying that he thinks that she didn't slip and fall, that something nefarious possibly could have happened, and that whole setup where they came up with an excuse that doesn't sit well with probably the family, and still some unanswered questions on this story. So I thought this case was very similar in some ways as to the Nolan Wells case right now that they're currently talking about. And when it comes to black women, no one's checking for us. When we're missing, when there's an incident such as this, it's easy to do the sweep under the rug and to blame the actual person who has been murdered, the victim, rather than, and especially if they happen to be black, rather than the attendees or the people. So allegedly these attendees are no longer questioned or having to worry about doing any time or any responsibility. It's that I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. We were at the party. She slipped and fell because she had been drinking. It's like almost seems as though it's the perfect alibi. So that is why it brought me to this article, because it sounds almost similar. These people probably still to this day have unanswered questions about as to what really the incident happened that night at this all moms out sleepover party in an area that is overwhelmingly white, of course, and has a history of racial strife. And you gotta wonder, it's another situation where you gotta ponder, was this an accident, or was there something of foul play that might have took place before this woman's death? And also the bungling of the case, the way it was handled, calls all of this into question. So I think people need to realize that, I know that some people want to look at, we have a black president already, we had that, and there has been some advances, and yeah, there has been some changes, but now we're going backwards. We're going backwards because we're in a new administration, which now is coming to a close, supposedly. And I think there's a fight right now to keep this administration in place. I feel like what's recently happened is there's fighting in the White House and in Capitol Hill over voting and the midterm elections, and there's removing of people. So something is coming around the bend, and I don't feel that it is a good thing right now. Of course, that could change. That's just my opinion, and I'm giving my opinions here on some of this. But I will say this. I'll say from what I know, like I said in the previous video with Nolan Wells, a lot of these people, they're from prominent backgrounds. They hold good positions, jobs of occupation, and they protect one another. And in me reading this article, you can see how they try to protect one another. They try to come up with a story and set the scene. They try to help one another along the way to try to cover each other so that they won't be found for any wrongdoing or foul play. So you can only ponder what really went on at this all woman's night out, mom's night out sleepover. So this is also still in the minds of people. And so what brought me here, Nolan Wells brought me here to this article and to this woman's death. It's a mysterious situation, and there's been others outside of this situation that people have wondered, the new thing is what people are saying is to befriend black people, sort of the get out situation, and make them think that you're inclusive and you're a friend and an ally, and then take them somewhere far off and unalive them, or do something and make it look like it was a suicide. Or the person goes somewhere and they're like jogging, a black person maybe going somewhere, they're off to themselves, and a group of people see the opportunity to unalive them. And with the political climate that we're under with the Trump administration and all the civil rights advancements being stripped, or they're making efforts to strip a lot of things away, like they've stripped health care, they're stripping housing. Housing's expensive, food's expensive, gas has gone up because of the war on Iran, and because of the war, the things that had happened in Gaza. If you mention anything about Palestinians, you get berated online for mentioning anything about their genocide. All of the civil rights artifacts in the Smithsonian, the Trump administration wanted to essentially erase all of it. Taking artifacts and historical documents or historical pictures, statues, any advancement that had anything to do with civil rights, just taking everything away, stripping things away, stripping funding from schools in local areas in the cities that are in great need, that are urban areas. LA County is one. There's I'm sure other cities, other schools that they've pulled funding, and the schools primarily are schools of kids of color. So it's not like people that pay attention don't know what's going on. And now we're getting people that happen to be black going to these all-white parties, all-white attendee parties, and you're the only black person there. And all of a sudden, that black person is unalived and nobody knows how it happened. Everybody's making excuses all of a sudden. And so we're full aware of what's going on, and so that is the reason why, this article, it sounds eerily similar. And it's the only thing is this is women right here, and this is a black woman, and she went over into an area that has a history of discriminating against blacks. Go figure. You have to wonder, was this woman's death really an accident? We all wonder. We still wonder.